the most toxic feminine energy. That's so crazy. The way you speak
It's because
to me.
I'm smart. It's because I have logic.
No.
Which
First
are
of all,
all
here,
things
let me.
that
No.
women have a higher IQ on average
because
than
I
men.
need
So
to
it
go
makes
through
sense.
you.
Women get better.
I actually have a feeling.
Women
Let's
get
break
better
that down,
grades in
though.
school than men, so it makes sense.
Why does he give you the feminine energy?
Yes, it's very simple. I speak to people I disagree with all the time. I work with them. It's fine, especially when they're men, especially men in my own industry. I've never had any of them, no matter how hard we disagree, ever speak like this. It's because you're young, you're clearly very emotional, but
No,
it
I
comes
was-
from
I
a
was
place
very
of very
clearly
feminine
repeating
energy
reality.
that's very weak.
Okay, I have a question.
And by
Do you
the
think
way,
that
your
women are more
energy is
emotional than
exactly
men?
why Trump won. The fact that you sit here and tell me
I deny
over
that.
and over
You
and
have no
over
evidence to
how
believe that.
dumb I am, how stupid I am.
Because
I
you
didn't
are.
go to college because I couldn't afford it, which is actually such a ironic
She raises
liberal
a pretty good
elitist
point.
No, absolutely she
But
doesn't.
the way
And
you
here's
speak
exactly
to
why.
me as
I
a
don't mind
woman,
explaining it.
take all politics aside, is such a feminine, weak, disgusting thing.
Okay,
You should be
I don't
ashamed,
mind
and if you have a
responding to this.
father,
So I'm
he
gonna
should
go
be
to respond
ashamed
to
of who he
this.
raised.
What's going on, guys? Red Channels here, and today I would like to talk to you about Dean Withers, the lovely Dean Withers, my personal favorite left-wing Zoomer internet personality, and what a failed man he is. Dean Withers, in like a single person, represents everything that the American left gets wrong about masculinity, and it's endlessly funny, endlessly entertaining. Now, for those of you who may not know, Dean is a political commentator from, I believe, Grand Junction, Colorado. He's only about 3 or 4 years younger than I am. I believe he's 21 now. He's born in 2003 or 2004. And he is very vocally liberal. And really the reason he's propped up, the reason he gets any sort of attention at all, is because the left generally is looking for someone to be a tough guy, a masculine man to appeal to men generally. It's no secret that over the past couple of months, the left has begun to realize that they are out of touch with the average man. Months to years, I should say, at this point. So, as a sort of proof that the Democratic Party, liberalism, and leftism in general aren't essentially for women and men who aren't straight, they need people like Dean to at least pretend to be straight. No, but they need people like Dean to pretend to be tough guys. You know, he was apparently taken under the wing of Hassan Piker. Some of you may also know him, another political commentator who is also kind of supposed to be a tough guy, or that's how he's molding himself into now, what he's molding himself into to be the sort of left-wing counterpart of a figure like, say, Andrew Tate. And it's really funny to see this because the left loves to talk about how masculinity is in crisis. And to a degree, masculinity is in crisis. There is, in my opinion, a clear degeneration overall across generations of men. So someone from, say, the greatest generation or the silent generation, at their age right now, on average, would be far more masculine and competent than your average Zoomer today is. But there's this real lack of self-awareness on the part of the left, because they are what's the problem. They are the people championing this social degeneration, this social disintegration, this collapse. They are the ones who want to undermine patriarchy, which is basically just all male social and political authority. But then, in an attempt to appeal to men, because men are still a significant portion of the electorate, men have feelings, collective feelings, desires, aspirations, values, etc. They have to create someone who is supposed to embody, uh, I guess, the sort of assertive, strong, dominant aspects of traditional masculinity while also being tame and PC. And I mean, it's really kind of an unwinnable You're asking someone to hold water in a sieve, pretty much hold water in a colander in doing this, because it's a paradox. These two things are in tension, right? Real, traditional, authentic masculine expression is in complete opposition to modern left-wing liberal PC values. So it never ceases to entertain to see someone like Dean attempt to embody both of these ideals at the same time. It's like watching Sisyphus push the boulder up the hill, but Sisyphus himself doesn't have the self-awareness to realize it's just going to roll down again anyways. And you can really see how fragile Dean's masculinity is, how the facade just cracks in that last clip of his conversation with that woman, because he comes across as just weak and flailing, and this is because he's doing all the sort of petty internet tricks that work online to engage with this woman, and they don't work on her. He does the whole talk over people. He does the whole gish gallop thing where he just rattles off a bunch of points, and it's supposed to make him sound intelligent or sound like he's got the other person pinned when really he doesn't. And he also has a nasty habit of misrepresenting what people say in the most disingenuous way possible. And I mean, it's one of those things where he's so obvious about it that there's just no way for him to really get away with it. He's so obviously twisting a person's words to pander to his audience. He doesn't consider how this might impact how people who aren't necessarily fans of his might see him, even people on the left. It's that bad. He's that bad at doing what he does. He's that obviously dishonest. But let's run that clip back really quick.
When I was 14, I slurred, and that the N-word was a part of my vocabulary. The R-slur was a part of my vocabulary, is because that is caused by racist socialization and education that is absolutely deplorable. My perspective is what I did was wrong, 110%. It was gross, it was deplorable. I'm sad of the boy that I used to be, and I regrettable that I was ever like that. But where I stand now is after being exposed to information, knowledge, and education that I use to better myself, that I use to finally make the recognition that I shouldn't be saying these words.
Sure.
I then decide to turn around and I try to share that with as many people as possible. And in all reality, that is my motivation for doing what I do today. Point blank period. Said slurs for a very long time. In fact, I've openly talked about how I have used slurs in my past on my platform for like a year, because I think that is a very important point for education. Like the point is that we can change like the socialization of the youth. The point is that if I can benefit and change my perspective and my worldview to be more beneficial to those around me because of this education, so can other people.
Why are you laughing? Why is this funny?
I think this is so funny.
Why? That was a very deep response. I actually...
This is, by the way, has nothing to do with you, why I think it's funny. I'm sure you're being sincere. It's just it's very I feel like I've seen so many of these apology videos, and it's just so funny to me because it's so it's like, okay, I got canceled. Now here's the script.
I'm gonna be honest, you're just insane.
Okay, wait, hold on.
I'm just gonna be the first to say.
Okay, hold on.
I love watching people get canceled. It's so funny. You could never do it to me.
Before we do that, I'm not defending the things that he said, but I will agree that this isn't the first case we've seen something like this.
I see people every day. The amount of online young influencers that are getting canceled for using the N-word, whatever. It's just so funny because it's the same script every time.
Okay, so
and it's just you're just bending the knee to these people who are trying to cancel you.
Hold on.
Yeah, much like a lot of other leftist commentators and personalities online, seems like Dean has a little bit of guilt over things he said in the past that weren't so PC. What tracks you seeing in the snow, Tonto? How you know white man here? Troll's remorse. But I mean, no one's gonna respect Dean for doing this harakiri ritual humiliation to absolve himself of dumb things he said when he was younger. It's one of the most spineless things you can imagine to see someone do this. Oh man, I didn't realize it was such an offense. I'm using this to educate. This is a moment of learning for other people. Dude, people should not be this offended by the word in the first place. And this has been my position forever. You know, offensive words should not be a big deal, should not be in the top 10 or top 5 of a list of things that are considered the worst moral offenses possible in today's America. One of the reasons I don't like Dean or people similar to Dean is because he's so fake and unhelpful. Like, the correct position on this issue, if for some reason you really feel called to be a white ally, is to argue for black empowerment, which is to tell black people that they should not care about white people's opinions. That is the actual position of empowerment, strength, and liberation when it comes to a topic like the N-word. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip of Brother Khalid Muhammad talking to the political commentator Sean Hannity.
Because God just didn't make us that way. He just didn't give us that kind of heart.
Let me ask you a question. If I were to say all blacks were drug addicts because of the actions of the few, would you find that offensive? Because there are black drug addicts in our society.
I don't find anything offensive that white people say.
Okay,
but if it would be all right with me.
Okay, let's say a black person said that. Would you find that offensive?
No, sir. If a black person said that, I would know that they have been robbed of a knowledge of self. They've been brainwashed by your people, and we would take the time and the love and give some care and sensitivity to the situation to try to open their eyes.
But in debasing himself this way and groveling for other people's approval, Dean not only does his own people, white people, a disservice, but he also fails to empower the minorities he so wants to protect, in this case, black people. But anyway, this video is really intended to be about why the left doesn't understand masculinity, why the left is so hostile to men, why the left can't wrap its head around why men generally tend not to support it. So let's briefly look back to the past Harris campaign and see some real ads that the Harris campaign produced, which were intended to appeal to men, and then we will relate this back to lovable Dean Withers.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man.
And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Meat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast. I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually.
Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story.
That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women. I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Hello, ladies. I'm Trey. It's good to be here.
What do you do and how much do you make?
I work in finance, making six figures.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Do you have a plan to vote in November?
Nah, not my thing.
Come on, boys. Let's make America great again. It's your turn, buddy.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
Remember, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty?
You bet I did, brother.
What happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
Paid for by Vote Common Good.
Oh, Oh! Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning porn nationwide.
You can't tell me what to do. Get out of my bedroom, you creep!
I won the last election, so it's my decision. I'm just gonna watch and make sure you don't finish illegally.
That last video really gets me because it's just Democrats admitting that they are the party of gooners. Most Americans, even if they don't think that pornography should be banned outright, can at least agree that it is a social nuisance, and a lot of people have problems with it. I mean, it's already like a known, measurable scientific thing. They've done scientific studies on the fact that it is detrimental to your psychological health to view it. And, nobody, like, you just can't argue with that, But, of course, Democrats, in an attempt to appeal to men, are like, hey, your Republican congressman will ban this. Well, guess what? Most men, even if they're probably reviewing it, would say, you know what? Yeah, it's about time. I had a problem. This has to end. And that is not a we'll have access to porn. That's not a compelling reason to support the Democratic Party. Definitely not a compelling reason to support Harris either. And it really shows you how out of touch the left is with men, that they even think that that's an issue that they could appeal to men on. But the so-called alpha males of the left, like Dean Withers, are totally blind to this, are totally blind to how the left-wing establishment, not even just in the US, but across Western civilization generally, totally demonizes and attacks men. Look at this. I didn't even believe this was real. I saw a text post about this. It was like a sort of like an article clipping about this on Twitter. I didn't even believe it was real until I went out and found the video myself. But watch this.
These women aren't friends out for a run. They're actually undercover police officers taking to the streets in Surrey as part of a new operation trying to stop people catcalling and harassing female runners.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
And police teams are ready to intervene the moment the officers are beeped at, followed or shouted at, pulling people over.
Those kind of behaviours may not be criminal offences in themselves, but they still need to be addressed. And of course, the people that are likely to commit those kind of behaviours, they may then go on to commit more serious offences or more serious behaviours.
Yeah, this is what the British police force does with its time, instead of actually going after people who harm children over there. Great to see how the left is doing in other countries. But British people being ridiculous aside, you can see how this one example is like a microcosm of how the left generally views men as fundamentally predatory and dangerous. And because of that, because as a man, by the left, you are default put into this class of being a perpetrator and a danger to others, there is nothing about being left-wing or being liberal that would appeal to any sane man. And like really masculine liberal men on the left do not exist, by and large. There are very few of them. But to tie this back into that point I made earlier about how the left wants to resurrect this dominant, assertive masculinity in a safe PC package and how impossible that is, you can look at the sort of average social climate, because some women have apparently been noticing and reacting to the fact that men are less interested in approaching them in social situations.
The dating scene is getting so bad in New York City that I am seeing on TikTok there are girls going into Midtown during the week and stealing Finance Bros salads for lunch, and then looking their name up from the salad order on LinkedIn and then messaging them through there and being like, hey, oh my god, so sorry, I grabbed your salad, like, let me just make it up to you and buy you a new one. And that's how they're like sliding in, which honestly, smart. Why are we stealing men's salads? Like, that's, why can't they just come up to us at a bar? Like, why is it getting to this point? Men, just please step up, or your salad's gonna fucking get taken. Your lunch is gonna get taken every week. Like, I'm seeing girls get so creative these days. Like, they're making bracelets with their phone numbers on them and giving them to you guys at the bars. They are taking pictures of you sneakily and then being like, hey, oh my god, making it their phone screen, and then being like, hey, can you take a picture of me and my friends so you can see that your picture is their home screen. All just different ways to try to talk to you guys, because you guys don't come up to us in New York City, and it's crazy. Like, I know there's so many beautiful women, like, just go up to one of them, buy them a drink. You guys have money, you live in the city, you can buy a drink. Stop being cheapos.
Leftism has turned a lot of women into miserable harpies. That is a fact. That is an observable social fact. And it really brings into question why any sane man, would ever align himself with liberals or the left. Because all the left has done is just squeeze and smother the masculine vitality out of men by demonizing them, by creating all these social penalties for natural, non-harmful male behaviors, like with those female cops in Britain, and just by attacking men generally. So it really makes one wonder why a man would want to be associated with liberalism, leftism, or the Democratic Party in particular. Because, like with those UK female police officers jogging I pointed out earlier, this problem isn't located merely to the US. It's a defect of leftism generally. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Dean Withers is lame and cringe. Democrats and the left don't understand men anymore. Please give this video a like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And Red Channels will, of course, catch you in the next one.